Everyone, my name is Tori Sharvenkamp and I'm part of the customer success team here in the Ames office. So if you have questions throughout this webinar, we're going to be talking about running a closeout report. So feel free to tag us, comment on this webinar, mention us on Twitter, give us a call at our support line, any of the above will work. So we'll get started here. So we have 4 different reports that you can access in Performance B. So 2 are closeouts and 2 are invoices. So to get access to all of those, we'll go to your settings in the upper right hand corner, scroll all the way down to your report settings here. You'll just want to make sure your closeout and invoice settings are set to that default plus detailed closeouts. So then you'll have access to all of those. A couple of things too here we can talk about is your closeout report visibility settings. So we do have deads in and deads out access in the closeouts. So the deads in is the default, kind of what it's already set to, just because you're paid for those deads if you had any, so you kind of want to account for them to see what your break evens would be. But sometimes you'll want to look at the deads out, so that'll kind of be like those deads never existed. So it doesn't take the cost of your deads, any other feed or any of that into consideration when it's generating that break even in the closeout. But if you do have questions too, we do have a calculations sheet. So how I got there was I just clicked that closeout report visibility settings. Then if you kind of scroll along here until a question mark pops up, you can just click on that, and then these reports will pop up. So that's kind of the calculation sheet is kind of what we call it for the closeouts that our engineer, Dr. Paul Gray, put together for us, which we sincerely appreciate because we kind of refer back to it when we're calculating stuff if someone calls in and has a question. So one fairly new feature we do have is the subtypes. So there's a whole group subtype, an on-feed subtype, and a sold subtype. So say you got 160 calves in, and you ended up selling 50 of them, but you still have 110 left in the yard. The whole group would kind of account for all of those 160 head. The on-feed would account for those 110 you have left in the yard, and then the sold would account for just those 50 that you sold and give you that profit or loss that you got from those 50 head. Here's kind of a better description of the deads in and deads out. So like I said, the default is with the deads in because most people want to see what their break even is going to be with those deads accounted for. But if you want to, you sure can set it. So say you don't want to see the processing of your deads, you can kind of do a deads in and deads out feature, just kind of see what your break even would be had those deads not been processed. So if you do have questions too, you can kind of keep scrolling and it'll kind of show you how everything's calculated. But yeah, this is kind of where we always refer back to when we have a question about how something's calculated and just kind of to make sure we're doing it right. So it's kind of a lifesaver for us. So next we'll go down to the reports and we can kind of go over the closeouts. So we have closeout A. We'll change it to a different group here. And this is our demo account too, so I'm not 100% sure how accurate these numbers are going to be, but we'll just kind of go with it, I guess. So here's the whole group. So that's accounting for the entire group. So your break even for your cattle is going to be 80 bucks. So you'll see 2 numbers here since we did do some with deads out. So the number on the left hand side, so let's just go over here. So the 300 bucks is accounting for deads in, and then the 290 bucks is accounting for deads out, if that makes sense. It's kind of confusing at first, but you can get the hang of it. And here your feed to gain cost. This number on the left, this 23.19 pounds is the deads in, and then the deads out is the 22.88 pounds. Next we'll go over to the on feed. So this is just accounting for the cattle on feed, because since some have been sold out of this group. So here, your break even for the cattle on feed is going to be 54,000 for the entire group. So let's see, we have 172 left on feed. So you'd have to sell them for $54,010 to break even. Obviously, we're hoping we sell them for more than that, but next is going to be your sold head. So this will tell you your profit and loss. So let's see, how many did we sell here? We sold 6 head. So deads in and deads out is accounted for once again. So Had we not lost any deads, we would have profited $4,220 from those 6 head. But since we lost, let's see, 2 head, we profited $3,660 instead. So that kind of puts that into perspective and explains it a little bit better. So it'll break it down. Like I said, the number on the left is the deads in, and the number on the right is the deads out. Next, we'll go to Closeout B. So here it's kind of a better breakdown. So there's a purchase summary, a sales summary, health summary, feeding summary, and then expenses, and then financial summary, and then it'll tell you your total profit or loss, again with the deads in and deads out, since we did turn that on for a few different factors over in our settings. Another thing that's kind of cool about the closeouts is you can do a combined closeout. So say you go down here. So I just click that second drop down in the upper left hand corner, scrolled all the way past all my groups, both open and closed, and I'm gonna scroll all the way down and click combine closeout. So say I want to close out of all of the groups that I have on the yard. So we'll just select all of those, and then we'll hit run closeout. Kind of takes a while sometimes just because there is so much information being generated. So here's our Closeout B. So you can see here, we're gonna lose with all the deads accounted for on the lot. We lost $49,000. Had those deads never been delivered, we would have lost $42,000. So it's still a lot of money, but $7,000 difference. So you can kind of see what you would have profited or lost had those deads never existed. But it's kind of cool to look at. And then Closeout A, you can do the same thing. So we had all those selected, so we'll just go back to Closeout A and run that closeout. You can see it shows you the same profit and loss here. Just kind of gives you different information each closeout. So kind of whichever you prefer is whichever one you want to use works for us. If you do have questions, like I said, feel free to give us a call or go back to this handy reports sheet and see how everything's calculated. Then we do also have a couple invoices, so invoice A and invoice B, which we'll be talking about in our next webinar, so stay tuned for that. But that kind of covers the closeouts. If you guys do ever have questions or want to go through stuff more in detail, feel free to give us a call or tag us on Twitter. But yeah, I hope you guys found this valuable, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in.